National Executive Council says education contractors claim illegal. West New Britain's flood appeal drawing good support. And PNG Weather Service says brighter days ahead.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
Good evening and welcome. This is Monday's news. It's good to have your company. Contractors who have been demanding for the Education Department to pay out their claims for work carried out in NCD schools will not be entertained. The National Executive Council has ruled out their claims as illegal. The NEC decision was based on recommendations by an audit report into these claims.
The National Executive Council has made its final decision not to entertain any claims of payment made against the state by contractors who had carried out work in schools around Port Moresby and the Office of Library and Archives. The decision is based on the reports and recommendations that the entire outstanding claims to NCD Education and the Office of Library and Archives have failed to meet the minimum audit test and procurement process under the Public Finance Management Act.
Under the report and the recommendations which went to them, it doesn't meet the minimum audit test and also the procurement processes. And therefore, on that basis, they have rejected all those claims that went to them in terms of asking for payment.
NEC has directed the Education Department, in consultation with the National Capital District Commission, to ensure that the incomplete projects are done following the proper process. Education Secretary Dr. Michael Tapo says some of these contractors have carried out substandard work and their claim is illegal.
Our public servants have in one way or the other worked to promote those claims through the system, whether they realize it was serious or not. But these public servants, the audit report has cited those people. So those people we have been directed to now communicate to the various authorities, including the law enforcement, to be able to try and look into the seriousness of engaging these contractors and also using public monies.
But today, outside the main gate leading into Finco building that houses the Education Department headquarters, the contractors were still waiting, hoping for a favorable response. But Dr. Tapo maintains that no claims will be entertained. Quinten Alomp, National EMTV News.
Public Service Minister Sir Pukatemu has accepted his referral by the Ombudsman Commission to the Public Prosecutor for alleged misconduct in office. Sir Puka responded that after the National Court has ruled in his favour, he was surprised that the Ombudsman Commission revisited the matter. The allegations include the allocation of a piece of state land to a group in the Western Highlands Province and a road contract awarded by the Abau Joint District Planning and Priorities Committee to a company owned by close relatives. It was alleged that Sir Puka had a conflict of interest and due processes were not being followed. Sir Puka has strenuously denied the allegations. The world attention is now on Vanuatu as tropical cyclone Pam has left devastating footprints on this developing Pacific island. But about 2,500 kilometers northwest, Papua New Guinea is experiencing strong winds and heavy rainfall. Though the alert from the tropical cyclone Nathan has slowed down, calls for disaster relief and assistance is growing.
Weather experts have been monitoring the Southwest Pacific region very closely since the beginning of this month. 4 tropical cyclones have developed in the region at the same time. Though one has dissipated and another has moved into the northern hemisphere, PNG weather experts have been tracking the tropical cyclone Nathan very closely. Recent reports from the Weather Office stated that Cyclone Nathan has moved further southeast and does not pose any more threats to PNG. But they said rain will continue throughout the country this month. Central coastline, southern Milne Bay Islands and West New Britain Province will continue to experience strong winds. West New Britain Governor Sasindran Mutuvel says strong winds and floods have affected people in his province. Road linking Biala was completely destroyed by flood, washing away bridges, and parts of the highway need urgent landfill.
From Kimbe, where now the store goods are fast running out in Biala town, and also the fuel, in Biala is also running out. That is a major concern, and what because of the hydro facility Lobo, which produces power for PNG Power. I think got affected also due to the debris and flood damage. So we are really worried and concerned. The business houses are bombarding us with requests whether we can appeal to smaller airlines to operate to come to Biala.
Governor Mutuvel has appealed for assistance. So far, the Indian Association has assisted with 25,000 kina, and today COVAC Limited donated a 30,000 kina relief assistance.
If any things need a COVAC to the emergency rescue, will be do.
However, one thing that is for sure, the impact of these natural disasters on physical infrastructure will cost the government millions of kina. Quintan Alomp, National EMTV News.
Tropical cyclones Nathan and Pam are no threat to Papua New Guinea. This was the assurance given today by National Weather Service Director Samuel Maiha as both cyclones rotate south of Papua New Guinea. Cyclone Pam rampaged through Vanuatu at the weekend, damaging about 90% of housing and claiming at least 8 lives in its capital, Port Vila. A more remarkable death toll may surface as rescue efforts continue. Vanuatu's government declared a state of emergency for the province of Shetha, which includes Port Vila. Back home, Mr. Maiha says the remnants from both Pam and Nathan have only resulted in gale force winds around the country.
Prone to tropical cyclones at Milne Bay and Central. But from records, none of the tropical cyclones have actually hit Mosby, for instance. They tend to develop over in the Solomons and then track down south.
June, July and August are predicted to have sunny days with reduced amounts of rainfall. This is the prediction from National Weather Service Director Samuel Maiha. Despite the heavy downpour in Port Moresby and other centres in Papua New Guinea in the past 3 months, Mr. Maiha is confident that brighter days lie ahead. 3 months ago, when I first interviewed Samuel Maiha, he predicted torrential rainfall patterns having adverse effects in the country. His prediction was evident with the erosion of roads and bridges in Morobe, West New Britain and in the Highlands, which now cost the government and taxpayers millions of kina worth of maintenance.
We cannot stop the rain, we cannot stop the floods, but we can manage. For instance, we must be able to restore within the shortest possible time a bridge, but in the sake of provinces that are going to be important for our sustainable development. You could consider building very, very strong bridges.
The 2015 national budget set aside 213 million kina for the repair and maintenance of roads and bridges. But Mr. Maiha is not convinced that amount is enough for the whole country.
That is in really strategizing how that infrastructure will last, for instance. Over the next couple of years, so much money will be spent on infrastructures. But I think it needs the experts, the engineers, the economists to come together and be able to work out.
In Port Moresby, there were a few landslips here and there, but floods were predominant, while the broader rural community of Central Province experienced massive inundations. But Mr. Maiha says the outlook for the next 2 months has sunny days ahead.
Drying weather conditions, definitely. But gradually drying. With May and June, I think should be very dry.
With June, July and August having peak hot temperatures, Papua New Guinea can look forward to reduced amounts of rainfall soon. You're watching Monday's news. Madang moves into a development phase. Also, Ara Police Station cell block getting overcrowded and recognizing staff loyalty with Bank South Pacific. Those stories and more when we come back. Stay tuned. Good to have you back with the National EMTV News. The St. Charles Luanga High School in the nation's capital received a sum of 250,000 kina today from the Indian government. The funds will be put to build new teachers' houses for the school, and it is also part of the school's expansion to secondary status next year.
The St. Charles Luanga High School at Geru in the nation's capital is planning for bigger things ahead. It is preparing to become the next secondary school in Port Moresby. The school started in 2007 as a church agency school that has enrolled over 400 students this year. It has only 19 staff members, which include teachers. A few weeks ago, NCD Governor Paul Sparkop initiated the process of upgrading the school to secondary status. Next year, the school is looking at enrolling its first grade 11 students. As part of this initiative, the Indian government, through its High Commissioner, Madhava Chandra, today gave the school a sum of 250,000 kina. The funds will be used to build teachers' houses. High Commissioner Chandra says the school is setting a new standard for education in Port Moresby. He also thanked the school's principal, Brother Joseph Thomas, for his service in education in the country.
The knowledge that he has acquired and imparting to you are altogether new dimension of education. You have set new standards of academic excellence, and the discipline I can notice all around. It's tremendous. The only word I can use is tremendous.
School Principal Brother Thomas, after receiving the funds, thanked the Indian government. He says the donation from the developing nation also signals more responsibilities for the school.
The more we receive, we have more responsibilities. Especially this is going to help the teachers' quarters. And I am sure the teachers, those who are going to stay there, will have more responsibilities as well. It is not that we receive only the facilities and enjoy, but we need to give the best to our students.
The presentation ended in celebration for the start of the school's major expansion to secondary education next year. Stanley Ove Jr., National EMTV News.
Madang has entered into a development phase. The JICA-funded project of the rehabilitation of the town market sets the pace. 26 million kina was given for the projects, and it is expected to transform the informal sector in Madang. Madang Provincial Governor Jim Kast urged his people to participate in economic developments. He said the huge wealth generated at the informal sector, however, no financial records as people don't bank it. Governor Kast said with the huge development, he encouraged his people to save money or practice the savings culture. In the autonomous region of Bougainville, the Arawa police station cell block is overcrowded. This was revealed by Central Region Commander Inspector Januarius Vosivai while speaking to our journalist, EMTV's Fabian Hakelitz, on the ground.
The need for Bougainville to have another prison has been sounded again, this time by Central Region Commander Inspector Januarius Vosivai. So far, 42 prisoners from Central and South Bougainville are housed in the cell block, among them 10 remandee awaiting national court trials. Currently, the Bakut prison in Buka is full that stops 7 convicted prisoners to be transferred.
Because of the situation with CIS, we don't have a established CIS correctional service in Bougainville. We've had a problem, so we keep keeping prisoners, even convicted prisoners and remandees in the same cell.
The government's commitment to re-establish Kuberia prison must be honored. It's burden for the Arawa police station providing all necessities without the Correctional Service Institute support.
When that will be re-established, and that's something that is up to the government and the respective division or department that was trying to facilitate that.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News, Arawa.
Lack of capital to start up a business has always been a challenge for the people of Kiriwina Goodenough. This was revealed today by the local MP and Forest Minister Douglas Tomuriesa when he signed an MOU with the National Development Bank to start up a credit scheme for his people. This means local entrepreneurs on the island can borrow up to 10,000 kina or more to start up their small to medium enterprises.
The local MP was concerned that his electorate of Kiriwina Goodenough hosts the Trobriand Islands, a tourism hub, but it was difficult for the people to start up businesses deriving from that industry as they didn't have enough capital.
Their biggest hurdle, like I said, is capital. And by us coming in here and saying, okay, NDB is prepared to support the people of Kiriwina Goodenough, a lot of the small businesses that we are talking about now will actually grow. Because the capital, much needed capital now is being provided.
However, following the signing ceremony today between the local MP and the National Development Bank, this will see the first deposit of 300,000 kina of the 1 million kina allocated for the NDB credit scheme. It has its criteria and all applications will go through the District Development Authority, then to the National Development Bank to process the loan.
For the lending on it, as well as the MOA sets out the responsibilities for NDB, basically, in terms of managing the deposit that the MP has deposited the money in on behalf of the people of Kiruna Good Enough.
Not only will the people be able to borrow money, but NDB officers will conduct financial literacy training. To complement this, the local MP says the District Development Authority has built basic infrastructure to support local businesses.
We have made certain that the roads are in place. We have made certain that communication has covered the whole island. And so, as you know, without communication, business will suffer. But we have now created an environment where business is more conducive on the island.
The District Development Authority will meet next week to finalize the endorsement to support NDB to conduct the financial literacy training. Bridget Komatap, National EMTV News.
Staff loyalty has played a big part in the success of Bank South Pacific. Through the commitment of its staff, the bank has been able to outperform other financial institutions in PNG as well as in the region. Now, over the weekend, long-serving employees of BSP were recognized for their efforts in contributing to the growth of the bank.
Employees who had served BSP for 25 and 40 years respectively were officially recognized for their role in the success of the bank. Awardees from around the country flew into Port Moresby for the ceremony, which coincided with the bank's annual leadership forum. On hand to present the awards were BSP Board Chairman Costas Constantino and Chief Executive Officer Robin Fleming. 21 employees were honored for their 25 years of service to BSP. Maria Nikent, Lookout Venevel, C.I. Konsang and Joyce Hiob are 4 women who have served BSP for 40 years, and they were recognized for their dedication to the bank within their various roles. For the 4 women, being recognized by the bank was indeed a special moment, especially as they have been with the bank to watch it grow its operations from being a national bank to now a truly regional bank.
Mito thank you le BSP na all kata Walkman Mary usati alibi mi lo come up this la time. Mito big la thank you. Maski one kind heavy me been go through plenty of travel story blo me, but me come up this la mark. Nothing but me stop yet. Awesome, miplol morbes atok asa sumba.
For BSP CEO Robin Fleming, the awards were indicative of the continued commitment to the bank that all its employees have. And with BSP recently announcing its expansion to 5 more Pacific Island countries, Fleming was adamant that more employees would continue to remain loyal to the bank for years to come. Meribatulo, National EMTV News.
And now we take a look at the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3775 US in the interbank market, and at Bank South Pacific, the kina was fetching $0.37 US, 0.4817 Australian dollars, 0.3484 euro, and 44.58 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and copper closed the day higher, cocoa and coffee closed lower. Meanwhile, palm oil and crude oil closed the day lower, while copper closed the day higher. And finally, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 146 points lower, the ASX closed at 17 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 19 points lower. You're with National EMTV News tonight. We'll have all the updates on the aftermath of Cyclone Pam in Vanuatu. Stay with us. Good to have you back with the news. Turning overseas now, 8 have been confirmed dead, with around 90% of buildings damaged or destroyed in Vanuatu's capital, Port Vila, in Cyclone Pam's aftermath. While officials are still assessing the full extent of damage across Vanuatu's 83 islands, Vanuatu Red Cross President Hannington Alatoa said the estimated number of people affected, which is half the population, will likely increase much more. The cyclone's strength has decreased considerably as it approached and passed New Zealand later this afternoon. The island is currently facing power outages, long fuel queues and poor communication although international aid is flooding in. Vanuatu's president has expressed his gratitude at the response from the international community in the wake of Cyclone Pam. President Baldwin Lonsdale said he had to cut short a trip to Japan to return to Vanuatu. He says right now what is needed is emergency relief supplies and equipment that he knows his people will be needing.
After my appeal to the world, to the nations all around the world, I'm very pleased with the feedback. The feedback was very fantastic. The first priority for the whole nation right now is the humanitarian needs. People have lost many of their properties, eating utensils, clothing, beddings. Yes, most of the necessary items of the households that they need. All this has been destroyed and damaged. And as far as food is concerned, of course, although we probably need food right now, but after 2 or 3 months, the food should be provided for the people. But I really request for humanitarian needs and assistance at this stage. Tarpaulins, water containers, medical kits, gardening tools, anything to do with construction tools. All these are very important right now.
On a similar note, Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott today briefed the Australian Parliament on what Australia is doing to assist Vanuatu and other Pacific islands affected by Cyclone Pam.
I can inform the House that the most destructive cyclone in memory has hit Vanuatu, and Australia is responding swiftly and comprehensively. I can inform the House, Madam Speaker, that yesterday 3 Royal Australian Air Force aircraft landed in Vanuatu with a medical assessment team and a search and rescue team and emergency supplies, food, water, sanitation and shelter for up to 5,000 people. Today, Madam Speaker, there will be 2 further Royal Australian Air Force flights into Vanuatu with further emergency supplies. As well, Madam Speaker, there will be an aerial reconnaissance flight over the outlying islands. As well, Madam Speaker, we have pledged $5 million towards humanitarian assistance, principally delivered through non-government organisations. Yesterday, Madam Speaker, I spoke with the Prime Minister of Vanuatu to convey Australia's sympathy and readiness to assist. Together with New Zealand, the United Kingdom and France, we will continue to monitor the humanitarian impact of the cyclone and what can best be done to respond. Madam Speaker, I'm advised that there are about 1,500 Australians known to be in Vanuatu. If people cannot contact their family and friends directly, they should contact the Department of Foreign Affairs Consular Emergency Centre, which will do what it can to assist.
Meanwhile, Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop says Australia is working with a number of countries to provide assistance to Vanuatu.
The Australian government is continuing to assess the damage across the Pacific, particularly in Vanuatu as a result of Tropical Cyclone Pam. Yesterday, 3 military aircraft left from Australia with humanitarian supplies and personnel as part of our relief effort. $5 million has been pledged to NGOs, including the Red Cross and UN partners, and we have sent medical supplies, sanitation kits, water, hygiene kits and shelter for those who are homeless. And today we are finding that our teams on the ground are able to deliver these kits to those in need, but we're also assessing the needs across the board as more crews are able to get to some of the outer areas in Vanuatu. Likewise, we're responding to requests from the governments of Solomon Islands and Tuvalu and providing assistance there. We're working with other partner countries, including France and the United Kingdom and New Zealand, to assist where we can in response to the requests of governments from these Pacific nations affected by Tropical Cyclone Pam.
And that story wraps up our domestic and overseas news tonight. The SP PNG Hunters record their second win into the season. Also, PNG Boxers hard at training in Brisbane, Australia. And the latest in the lead-up to the SP Sports Awards 2015. All that in Trukai Sports coming up next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The SP PNG Hunters recorded their second successive win in the 2015 Intrust Super Cup yesterday. The Hunters defeated the Redcliffe Dolphins 30 points to 26 at Colorbond Oval in an exciting match that went down to the wire, with the home side holding on through their defence. One standout for the Hunters was Alex Wera, who grabbed a hat-trick of tries after returning from a left wrist injury in a man-of-the-match performance. The PNG boxing team has been in Queensland, Australia for the past 2 weeks, training under Australian-based coach Alan Nicholson. The team had the opportunity to spar against some of Queensland's best boxers as part of their training and preparation for the 2015 Pacific Games. EMTV's Lorraine Genia was ringside at the Brisbane Boxing Club.
After 2 weeks of training at the Runaway Bay on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia, boxers are on track with their preps for the Pacific Games. Debbie Cowra, who fights in the 75-kilogram weight division, was up against a heavier opponent in Lizzie Patterson, who is categorised in the 81-kilogram division. Debbie, who struggled to perform at the National Boxing Championships earlier in the year in Goroka, showed much improvement with fitness and agility, making full use of the ring. Tom Bogar also came out successful against Queensland opponent Conrad Kuhn. Coach Alan Nicholson says the team has worked hard over the last 2 weeks, but have a lot more to do before their return to Port Moresby. He expects the team to reach their peak in July come the Pacific Games. The team has 2 weeks remaining at the Runaway Bay, but are hoping to extend their stay for another month, depending on the PNG Olympic Committee. Lorraine Genia, National EMTV Sports.
In preparation for the Hong Kong Sevens, the Puma Energy PNG Sevens team will make their way down to Newcastle, Australia to undergo strength and conditioning training at a specific training facility. The team to perform at the Hong Kong Sevens are a mixture of experienced pukpuks and debutants. New Zealand-based twins William and Timothy Rue were the newest inclusions to the team. Albert Levy and Dean Manela were also recalled for national duties. And Trukai Sports continues after the break with Rugby League Nines and powerlifting. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Turning over to Rugby League, Port Moresby Rugby League Nines kicked off their knockout rounds on Saturday with a bang. Teams from both the men's and women's division went head-to-head in thrilling encounters. In the women's division, the Conner Storm secured a spot in the grand final, while other teams hoping to make it through to play the Storms.
It was all serious business in the women's matches yesterday. All teams gave their best, vying for the last spot in the grand final playoff against the Storms. Flies proved too strong in the cup and plate playoffs, coming out victorious 12 points to 4 over Conning Tigers. In the second playoff, it was a tough match between the Royals and Defence as Royals urged a minor victory over Defence 4 points to 0. Butterflies will be taking on Royals for the cup. New team goalie Snipers had a tough encounter with Tarangau, going down 4 points to 0. Tarangau have now secured the spot, playing Conning Tigers in the grand final for the bowl. In the men's division, players showed their fancy footwork in the windy weather. Teams in the cup and plate playoff were all out in form, strutting out their skills to make the finals. This weekend's finals have been postponed to a later date due to the rainy weather conditions in Port Moresby. Elijah Lavette, National EMTV Sports.
Australia-based PNG powerlifter Tahina Booth officially signed with the PNG Powerlifting Federation on March the 12th and will be representing Papua New Guinea on the international stage in every powerlifting meet that she competes in. Booth was supposed to participate at the Pacific Invitational meet in Melbourne in April. However, due to certain changes, she will not be competing. Instead, she will be a guest lifter in the Australian Championships on the 12th of April. Booth's preparation so far is going well, and she is hoping to break all the Australian and PNG records in training over the next few weeks. She is currently the strongest gold medal prospect for PNG in the 84-kilogram weight class. And True Kai Sports ends on that note. The weather details coming up next. Stay with us.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
Looking at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in southern region, Port Moresby to look forward to cloudy weather with showers. Daru, a shower or two expected. Showers expected in Kerama. Showers plus rain in Poponeta, and squally showers with rain expected in Alatown. In Momase, light showers in Madang. Light showers or two expected in Wewak and Vanimore, and in Lae City, showers. In the New Guinea Islands, showers expected in Kimbe, Lorengau, Kavieng, Buka and Kokopo, possible showers at times. In the Highlands region, all centres to look forward to brief showers at times, then morning fog. Forecast for small ships. There is a gale wind warning current for all islands and atolls in southern Milne Bay waters, specifically Samarai Island to Misima to Rosso Islands. Also, there is a strong wind warning current for all coastal waters of northern PNG Indonesia border to west-east Sepik to all islands of Madang, including the New Guinea Islands. Looking at waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait, Daru to Kiwai Island to Kerama to Yule Island, seas of 2 meters to 3 meters. Waters of Yule Island through to Hood Point, Samarai Island, Misima to Togula, Russell Islands, eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, including Manus and its western group of islands, to New Ireland, to New Britain, Bougainville, Finschhafen, Vitia Straits, through to CSC Islands, all the way to Long Island, to Madang, Bogia to Wewak, Aitape to Vanimore, and the northern PNG Indonesian border, seas of 3 meters to 3.5 meters. And ocean forecast for PNG areas, Coral Sea sees high with northeast to southwest winds at 48 to 64 knots. Solomon Sea sees rough with northwest winds at 25 to 34 knots. Bismarck Sea sees rough to patches of very rough weather with northwest winds at 34 to 48 knots. And lastly, Pacific Ocean sees slight to moderate with northeast to northwest winds at 10 to 20 knots. Now, recapping our main headlines again tonight before we go. National Executive Council says education contractors claim illegal. Also, West New Britain's flood appeal drawing good support, and PNG Weather Service says heavy rains will subside in coming months. Good news. Well, that's been National EMTV News, including the sports and weather, this Monday, March 16th, 2015. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team, I'm Tokana Hasavi. You take care and stay safe. Good night.